thought about making this video tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and make it now because right after COVID hit, I started communicating with Dorian, Electra, online. And at first everything was fine and dandy. But when I left my abusive partner of 9 years, who I later discovered had been trying to kill me with slow cyanide poisoning, all hell broke loose. I moved to a nearby town 25 minutes away, and there was a nonprofit circus organization there, Salida Circus. You could go to my YouTube page, same handle, or if you're on my YouTube page, you can go to my Instagram if you feel like you're missing something, because there's been a lot of fucking chaos. And I started working with this nonprofit organization because I love children, and I volunteered and I spent a lot of time. I also began nannying 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night. 6 children in my care. When that circus founder told me, because she heard about my passions about what was going on in the United States and the fact that I didn't like it and I wanted to help with the border wall, and she told me to go work with Patch Adams and go to one of his retreats in Mexico where he sexually violated me. But right before all that happened, I had reached out to Dorian. They sent me a message. Shh. As somebody who was sexually abused as a child and religiously traumatized, if there's one thing I can't stand, I hate and abhor, it is being silenced. That's what victimizers do. Victimizers try to silence the people that they attempted to victimize. And then they turn around and play the fucking victim. So anyway, when I came back from Mexico, and I had to have a friend that wasn't related to the circus at all fucking help me get out of Mexico. And I don't blame Mexico. When I come back, Jennifer silences me, tells me that I can't talk or speak about it unless I run it by the circus first. So I left the circus. I even left Salida and went back to Denver. I went back to Denver frothing at the fucking mouth after having warned the whole town of Salida, Colorado on Facebook. That account has since been deleted. But I started receiving such heavy spiritual and psychological attacks that it wasn't even fucking funny. And somehow, and I was having visions through all of this, and somehow Preeti Bernstein, aka Perry Farrell, started showing up as well. And all throughout all of this, I felt as though I was being raped. I could literally feel the raping happening. I didn't know what any of it was. I didn't know if I was having a spiritual awakening. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But after having watched the next 2 videos that I'm attaching to this video, I know exactly what the fuck was going on. And I was patient as fuck and communicative as fuck with Perry Farrell and Dorian Electra Friedkin Gomberg. And they were relentless. Even when I left the country and went to South America, it didn't stop until just recently when I started speaking out again. If people try to silence you, keep speaking your truth. Keep speaking out. I don't know what the fuck these two are doing, but they are no bueno. It's like this guy says in these next two videos. Something was just off. And I grew up around music and musicians. So I really didn't want this to be true. But Mayfly, CJ Lead, author of Mayfly, you sure it isn't just you, Stephen King? Kings seem to be a real theme right now, don't they? Under a pen name or something? Either that or your protege is just as fucking awful as you of a writer. People will try to silence you. And if you read that book, you'll see that it says electrified. But that's just my story in there that I sent to Dorian, Electra, Fredkin, Gomberg, that they just took pieces of and fucked it all up. Having grown up around musicians and loving music and loving to dance, I didn't want it to be true, but that doesn't make it untrue. And I'm putting this out there because if it helps anyone else, then I've done what I came here to do. Like I said in my recent post on Instagram, be careful of these Kabbalistic motherfuckers, of these Kabbalah practitioners. Because there's a lot of people out there that practice shit without really learning the tenets of it first.
And other forms, and I'm not just talking about sleight of hand and magic, but actually forms of experiences that people associate that lead them to another place. Is there a dark side to that? And today as well, I just remember, as it comes to mind, a few years ago, invited to someone's home, and there was a guru there. People that I saw when I drove up, a driveway filled with Rolls Royces, the most expensive cars. I walk in, he has this man sitting on the floor, and he has his beloved followers and disciples literally worshiping him. And I felt a vibe that was not, I will call it a healthy vibe. Then we started a conversation. I was invited. I wasn't even sure what the agenda was, but I was invited just to speak. But then I realized that the people invited me wanted me to help get some people out of this cult. And it was definitely something was wrong. Now, this man was brilliant and sensitive, but I felt a certain, it was his ego. Did it get to him? Did he justify behavior in the name of some higher spiritual state? And it was then that I came to discover, and I'm not going to go through the graphic details, but it was quite sordid, let's put it this way. I realized firsthand that there's a very thin line between spirituality, sensuality, and sexuality. And if you don't know how to straddle that line, if you don't know how to navigate, boundaries can be crossed in ways that create quite a lot of damage. Because remember, the deeper you go into a person's soul, the deeper and more intimate you go into the psyche, into the spirit. So on one hand, yes, it can open up completely new channels, can get beyond traumas and fears and inhibitions and insecurities that block us, but you're also opening up a very vulnerable place. Think of like open heart surgery. You don't just do that in the street. Needs to be a sterilized environment, everything perfect. Because the deeper you go into something, the more sensitive it is. The more even one drop that goes off, the more destructive it could be. Think of a piece of dust on your finger isn't very significant, but on your eyeball, quite irritating. And the same thing is with our psyches, which is why anyone who's a practitioner, a therapist, a mentor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a soul doctor, whatever you want to call the person who's dealing with soul matters, has to be extra careful, even more than a physical doctor, because you're opening up literally the most vulnerable, defenseless place in a person. You want to make sure that there's purity that enters. There's no other agendas, because one iota off can create very deep damage.